This is Trevor Potter here with Ringside Collectibles, WrestlingFigs.com. We're here at WrestleMania 35 Access in Brooklyn, New York. And we're here with the lead Mattel designer, Bill Miekina. Hello, Bill. Thank you for supporting us. We got a little Q&A from Wrestling Figs boards and from our social media.
Let's do it.
But first, I want to show you a little support, Bill. Yeah, there we go. We're going to make Bill sweat till he can't sweat no more.
Well, my hat was already very sweaty from earlier today, so the shirt is very appropriate. So let's make me even wetter.
Sweatier, I think.
Sweatier, yeah.
Sweatier.
Let's make me sweatier.
How are the Target and Walmart exclusives selling? Will this program continue?
Yes, it will continue. It is successful. It's something the retailers asked for this year, and we so that's what we delivered. I know some people are not that crazy about having to go to a Target or Walmart to find the figures, and sometimes the figures are hard to find. But at the end of the day, if the two major retailers now that Toys R Us is out of the picture, when the two major retailers ask for something, you give it to them. So that they will continue.
And that's part of collecting too, getting things a little more rare, hard to find. It makes it more exciting in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's the game you play as a collector. I know I collect other figures that sometimes I have to pay more than I would like to pay for. I get very upset when I have to, but ultimately, if you want something bad enough and you're into the hobby and it's important to you, you sometimes just have to bite the bullet and get irate and upset about it. But at the it's part
more
of the game.
product, the better, right?
Yeah, at least, and then having these programs allows us to get deeper into the talent pool, get some names out that may not otherwise would have even made in the line to begin with. So it is something that going forward will be part of the line.
Okay, good stuff. All right, and next question we have here. Are we going to get more WCW belts than the one released with Ron Simmons? Maybe WCW US title? I'm sure it's a rights issue, right?
At some point we're going to try to get to the remaining belts. It's just figuring out which should be the best talent to put it with, and then when to put that talent in the line.
Oh, so you do have the rights then? I think
it's last time we put in the WCW title, we didn't get word from WWE that we couldn't. So it sort of seems like whatever was there before that was preventing it seems to have been worked out. So
okay, that's great news. Yeah, people love that. Retros have been super hot lately. What retros would you like to make still, since there's so much potential there?
I'd like to get to some female talent. I think a Ronda Rousey retro would be pretty badass. Obviously Becky Lynch, Charlotte. If we can afford the deco, I'd love to get an Asuka in there. I'm not sure how much we can get with the simplified nature of the retro deco, but I personally would want one, obviously, Yeah.
Some more legends, maybe some WCW guys, NWA, ECW. You never know, right? Yeah. Tag teams, Heart Foundation. I would love to see Natural Disasters myself, Money Inc., something like that. Next question we have here. Any chance of a Jeff Hardy Elite with two heads, with the extra head having worn off paint like you did with Ultimate Warrior or Sting in the past?
That's always possible. Having the extra heads on someone like Jeff Hardy allows us to do something like that, or two distinct face paint schemes. So if you have one figure, you have two different figures, and then also with the head with the paint worn off, that's a really good idea actually.
How do you go about deciding how much paint to leave on a face? Like a lot, like the Warrior in Ultimate Edition 1, there's a lot of paint worn off, but the old Sting in a battle pack, WrestleMania battle pack, there was not that much worn off. It's just kind of up to you, see what it feels like. A
lot of it is just seeing what the reference is from the match that we're recreating, and seeing a lot of it is what is the best shot we have of him with the face paint in distress. And with the Ultimate Warrior one, the best shot we had a lot of the paint removed. And when you put it on a figure, it looked very different and striking from the full face paint. So that's what we went with. With Sting, I think the reference, not a lot had actually peeled off in that match. So the actual mask showed a little bit of wear, but it was also very interesting. So it all depends on basically the assets and the match that we're recreating.
Good. Without naming specifics, Is there anyone from the dismissed Concussion Lawsuit back under a Legends deal?
Yeah, I don't know if that's anything I can talk about right now. I'll probably have to. That's probably a situation where if someone shows up in the line that was on that list, that means at some point we got the rights back.
Are they still? Are talent still signing new Legends deals? Like, are they still coming in, new ones? WWE in general?
Yes.
Good to know. Can you clarify which store exclusive lines were discontinued? Obviously, anything from Toys R Us.
Yeah, I mean, anything Toys R Us related is done. I mean, I'm not sure it discontinued or maybe like the program was supposed to run for a year and it ran its course. And then, yeah, I'm not really sure how to answer that one because a lot of stuff, it's not so much discontinued as it's planned for a year. It comes out and, it's the natural lifespan. And then it's the retailer wants a different theme for its exclusive. So we move on.
Okay, kind of like Walmart with flashbacks. Maybe that was ending, but maybe they're going to start something new then?
They wanted it for a certain time period. We did it for that time period. And then the next year they wanted something different.
Is that like this Survivor Series we saw today? Different assortments? What is it? There's some elites and some battle packs?
It could be something like that. Like there's stuff, obviously, like I personally would have been happy if, the Elite Flashback line continued at Walmart. I like the line myself. But the retailer wants a segment for a certain time period, and then once that time period's over, they want newness and freshness. So that's what we give them.
Good to know. Let's see. Are there any new first time in the line Legends coming out this year besides what we saw here at Access, which was Don Morocco and President Gorilla Monsoon?
Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I'm sure there is, but I just don't know off the top of my head. I think having a Don Morocco and a Gorilla Monsoon filled two pretty significant gaps in our line. Gorilla is something I've wanted to do for a long time, just trying to find the correct placement for it. And then when the opportunity sort of came up for doing a Survivor Series wave, I thought the Gorilla and Bobby were such an integral part of the early Survivor Series. Maybe that's where we put them. And when the cost came in and we could do it, it's like, okay, that's where we're doing it.
And that Survivor Series, is that Walmart?
That is Walmart.
If you were going to make an Ultimate Edition Shawn Michaels, which attire would you kind of pick? Something you've already done before, or something brand new? WrestleMania 12, but that's been done before. DX has been done. Intercontinental title's been done, but...
One, I don't know if it's the one we would do, but one that I that would be under consideration would be his final match. Because I'm not sure if we've ever done that.
Not the Saudi Arabia match. His other final match.
The real final match. The WrestleMania retirement match. I know we did a store exclusive basic figure on that. We've never done an elite version of it, and I think that kind of lends itself to being worthy of a $30 Shawn Michaels execution. There's some really cool stuff we can do with that.
How long do you think it will be before we see the women's tag titles? Obviously, they're going to be coming at some point.
Yeah, I mean, considering they're about a month old, it might be a bit, but it is something we definitely want to get in the line. We know how much people respond and react to new titles, so.
Do you think when it comes out, it'll probably be a single belt with someone in an elite wave?
That's something we'd have to figure out the best way to do it. So.
Most tag belts are, so it would make sense. Any talent like Chyna, Hogan, or Jeff Jarrett still off limits?
We just go by who WWE says is available, and then by the time this video comes up, the answers could change. So who knows?
Yeah, fair enough. How come there hasn't been any product for Brock Lesnar or Becky Lynch, even when they've been champs or on a hot run for 6 months? It's just a timing issue? It's
a timing. I mean, our lead time, a year ago at this time, I mean, not to be insulting, but Becky Lynch was not a big factor in WWE. And the way our lead times work, a lot of what is hot now will be in the line, 10 months from now, 12 months from now. So obviously when Becky Lynch sort of caught fire, she will be represented in the line in a big way. in the next couple months. It's just that all that stuff, we just, it's still in development because she really, the rocket went up at the end of August. So it's by, if WrestleMania was held 2 months from now, you'd see a lot more Becky Lynch product. But
Foresight's 2020, right? So just about trying to predict.
at the time, like, who knew Becky Lynch would be like the hottest person in the company? I mean, I don't think anyone would have said that a year ago.
Yeah. Will we eventually get the complete Riot Squad in Elite form? I think we had that question answered here, but maybe you could tell people where they're going to all come out in?
Yeah, the Riot Squad. We have the Sarah Logan is coming out in basic first. I do see eventually doing an Elite version on her. And then Liv Morgan is coming out, and the Ruby Riot came out in NXT. And if you want like a more current look on Ruby Riot, there is a brand new basic, which is actually right behind me in the case. I have no idea how we got all that body art on a basic figure, but we did. So I'm actually pretty impressed because I actually didn't work on that figure. And I look at it, I'm like, wow, it makes me wish I did because it looks so great.
That's good stuff. Let's see. Any new female legends planned for 2019? We saw an Alicia Fox here. If she can kind of counts as a legend, but borderline.
She's been with the company for 10 years, so she's at this point she's probably considered a legend. I think so. There's some preliminary stuff that's in the works.
Get people so excited. Any updates on the entrance stage from last year? Will that ever come out? It was just hopefully. Or what about these amazing dioramas? Like, any chance of that stuff?
Well, these were made by our trade show services to show off the figures. So these are sort of a one-offs. I mean, I know every year at like Comic-Con, all the toy companies have their displays and people want to buy them, outright. And then sometimes it's just like, well, they're kind of like made for the show. The stage is something we're still trying to figure out the best way to do something like that. There's a lot of factors that go into making something like that, and being cost effective. There's a really large tooling investment in something like that. So, are we going to risk tooling something like that if WWE's going to change their stage, like 3 weeks after we launch it, and then it's obsolete? So.
It's not just the price point, it's you have to sell to vendors, and will they buy it too? It's not just the end consumer.
It's with Toys R Us gone, the toy landscape in US is very different, and WWE is a brand who has a lot of large play sets that just does like Target and Walmart just don't have the space on their shelves for it. If they have that much space, they'd rather have like 4 smaller items than one big item. So it's we have to learn how to adapt in a retail landscape where Toys R Us just doesn't exist.
Fair enough, yeah. Why are the 2019 and Elite Series and Basic Series the same as the Top Talent, the same as the 2018 lineups for all intents and purposes? Why are they the same characters?
The reason that the Top Talent lines exist is so retailers have certain top talent available all year round. Because one of their comments last year was people going to stores and they would see like wrestlers from the past that weren't on the show anymore, or people that didn't have a large role on the show. Like, those were the only figures they saw in the pegs, and they're like, why isn't there like the bigger names available at these stores? So the whole idea is to have like, the very top guys available all the time. And the very top guys, there are certain ones that you can kind of figure out who they are in terms of sales, TV exposure. So the goal is to always have those characters in stock. It's not to have like 4 one quarter and then 4 another quarter. So you have throughout the year 4 top characters in basic and elite line on shelf at all time. So, and we showed this in the fall. We are switching the decos on 3 of the 4 of the elites, and I think some of the basic. But the whole idea is just to make sure that, for someone who just wants to buy a character that they see on TV on a consistent basis, we don't make it exceedingly difficult for those customers to support our line.
And mass retailers, they want those main characters too. It's more targeted at mass retail, right?
Yeah, I mean, the bulk of our business is done through mass retail. So, and if they ask for something, it's not in our best interest not to listen. So, the good news for collectors, that want new characters, that doing the top talent also allows us to do, go also deeper in the line, knowing that they're going to live alongside the top talent instead of.
Yeah, you're clearing up a slot in the main line for somebody else.
Yeah, like having that top talent slots is not taken away from the diversity of the line. It's actually enhancing it, so I'm all for it.
Let's see. With the success of the retro line in year 4 now, will we start seeing women, 2-packs, accessories, and more?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the tooling investment. I personally want to see women in the line, but that's a whole bunch of tooling from scratch. So we figure out if we're going to do that, like how we're going to do that. So,
okay. Is the GameStop Retrofest line continuing?
It's continuing through the end of this year, and then we'll see going forward if it continues or not.
I think people really like that packaging. Yeah. Is there any other ideas for just amazing packaging for some kind of other thing besides a Retrofest or something else really cool that can define a line for an exclusive?
That's the plan. I mean, that's what we're always striving for. So, if there is a replacement for Retrofest or an evolution, we hope it resonates as much as the original package did.
Yeah, so let us know your suggestions on that. What kind of crazy packaging would just be, let Mattel know, let us know, like, what would be amazing for a whole line like that? Have you found a spot for Rated R Lita, Wendy Richter, or the Paul Ellering, who was shown last Access last year?
We're always looking. We always want to, it is frustrating when you display something and then like the slot goes away, and then you're stuck with like really cool figures that you're really proud of and really want people to buy, and then like suddenly they can't. And I know, even as someone who's like on the inside, I know how frustrating it is for the people that aren't on the inside when that happens. So there is, every time something opens up, we are trying to figure out, like, is there something we've already developed that will work for the slot?
Then it comes out of your hands, and it's more on sales or marketing to kind of get it out there somehow, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Why is Liv Morgan a store exclusive, not in the main line? I kind of agree with that question. I'm like, we can't sell them because if she's not in she's a store exclusive, and she's like on TV every week,
She was originally planned for Walgreens, and then when she got bumped from that assortment, and the whole idea was just to try to get her to consumers as quickly as possible, and the quickest way to do that was to add her to an existing assortment, and the easiest one to do that was the Target one. And honestly, it's one of those situations, like a lot of the store exclusives, if they sell really well, like above expectations, people are going crazy, like we keep track of this, like, and if the situation arises that maybe we put out another one, as we still have the license, so.
Yeah, that's how we got to support like the retro line. Like it has to sell not only for us, it sells well, but it's got to sell well at mass. We, keep buying that, keep these lines alive. For the Ultimate Edition, Ronda has interchangeable arms. Any chance for any future figure to have different interchangeable parts like feet or legs or any other parts?
It kind of depends if the situation presents itself, where if someone comes to the ring with like very dramatic pants or something and then tears them away to start and wrestles in different from the entrance gear, that could be something where it would be used. Nothing planned like that, but that doesn't mean that in the future that something couldn't.
With Dean Ambrose leaving the company, any more figures of Dean going to be released besides I think there's a Shield 2-pack coming out in Battle Packs 59, but besides that?
No, I mean, when that happened, we were told to replace immediately. So, unfortunately, we started work on the crew cut Dean Ambrose, but it doesn't look like a lot of that's going to be able to make it to market.
Okay. Any consideration for adding rotation at the elbows, so that like elites like AJ and DDP can move their arms closer together to do like the bang pose, or sometimes you just can't get them just the right.
Well, that's why the Ultimate line exists, because it has the double articulation on the elbows.
Okay. So maybe like AJ might have that in the future if there's ever an Ultimate Edition, but I'm
sure at some point AJ will be in the Ultimate line if he's.
I think with all the new interchangeable parts in the hands lately, people were like, they immediately thought like, oh, will we ever get DDP bang hands?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are still like, we could go back and do it. I mean, that's one of the reasons like we did The Rock again for that Walmart exclusive is like rock with DIJ face. I mean, God, it's gonna look so awesome. And then we saw the example there.
That's Elite 69 one, right?
69, yeah.
Let's see. For will we ever get the Ultimate Warrior's iconic yellow strap Intercontinental title? We got the yellow strapped Winged Eagle in the Legend 6, and lots of other variations of Winged Eagle and IC, classic IC, but never the yellow one that he had. But maybe next time you do an Elite Ultimate Warrior down the road, just throw it in.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, probably down the road, I think with the Ultimate Warrior, it might be like, I don't want to get in a position where people are tired of like, oh my God, another Ultimate Warrior, because he gives you so much to work with, and every figure turns out so cool. But I don't want people to be like, think like,
maybe 2020 eventually.
I mean, who knows? I mean, the thing is, like, his figures do sell, so he is someone that is, still considered. But if it's a situation where it's between like an Ultimate Warrior and someone like a new legend talent is available, it's like maybe we'll just maybe then it's like we should probably do like the new name, and just knowing we can always go back to Ultimate Warrior, do something meaningful, have the yellow strap, and go like, okay, why don't we just do that here, because it makes sense to do this here.
So with Mania being right around the corner, obviously some people are going to come out in new attires and be released. How quickly does WWE kind of get you that reference material? If you see somebody in a new attire, like, hey, we want to do this.
We ask as soon as the show's over. It's like, hey, what do you have on, this guy, this woman, and a lot of times it's either that it's already been shot, or if it hasn't been shot, they'll shoot it, pretty much the next week. So they know it's like this is an important period for new outfits and new decos.
Yeah, definitely. For Rey Mysterio, why was his Elite flashback released before an updated current Rey? Which obviously one's going to come out, but the flashback came first. I think everybody was kind of expecting a current Rey first.
If Rey Mysterio would have come back in an outfit that he had already worn, it basically comes out like he comes out and the mask now has the mohawk. In terms of to get something out as quickly as possible, we couldn't do that because it wasn't tooled. And we are currently tooling a new Rey Mysterio head with the mohawk. But to get a new Rey Mysterio out as soon as possible, we wanted to go, we had to do an existing deco. And then it was like, well, what existing deco, what existing outfit have we done that have we not done that if we did it, people would they'd want it, even though it's not a brand new Rey Mysterio outfit. And the one that everyone sort of like always percolates to the top is like, I wish Mattel would do the Halloween Havoc 97 Rey. So that was why it made perfect sense for Halloween Havoc Rey to go into that slot.
And since Rey's been back, he's wore a lot of different attires. He's got the singlet that really dips down, but other different attires that are more not the singlet. Like, what do you think will kind of be out first?
I don't know. The only one I know for sure we probably won't touch is the flesh-colored one with the black thong.
Oh yeah, we can all say thank you, Mattel, for that one.
We're probably not going to make a toy of that one, but everyone else is kind of on the table. So,
all right. Any plans to expand the chase figures to like battle packs or retros?
Nothing currently planned, but it's if the program works and we've seen that people, if there's an uptick in sales in elites and basics, and one of the reasons that might be attributed to the chase program, obviously we want to sell as many figures as possible. If that makes people buy more figures, I can see it something expanding across all our brands, all our figure lines.
And every 2 years there's new packaging that comes out. Obviously that should be coming out for 2020 packaging in probably 6 months or so. Can you say anything about that, or is it just like a wait and see?
I don't work in packaging, so I'm not as intimately familiar with the new package. I think this last iteration was really good, so they're gonna have a hard time to top it, but they always do. So.
Well, Bill, thank you very much for answering all the questions from social media and Wrestling Figs. And till next time, everybody.